Hi everyone, welcome to Architalker. Today on this episode, we are going to be talking about architecture and softwares, right through drafting to modeling and then rendering. We have architect Efe Egube. Architect Efe, welcome.
Hello, how you
Welcome
doing?
to our podcast.
Yo,
Good to have you here.
thank you very much.
It's been a long time coming and we finally pulled this
How many
through.
years?
6, 7?
Oh, yeah. That's
It's
really
almost
long.
six,
Yeah,
7 years.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It's been a long time coming. So we like I already said, we want to discuss softwares and then knowing you for so many years, knowing your CAD proficiency skills and all. I think it would have been best for me to choose you to
Thank you,
discover
thank you,
and explore this
thank you.
subject matter. So I want you to help us understand what your background is in design software, and how you got into drafting, how you got into modeling and rendering. How did you get into it as an architect?
Okay.
I mean, I know it's integral to our profession, but
Yeah,
walk me through.
back in the school, we all started with sketches, having our sketchbooks. They usually insisted that we had sketch pads to sketch whatever we saw. They listed a number of things that we needed to sketch just so that we are comfortable with pencils on paper. It
Mm-hmm.
was really stressful at the time, but
Mm-hmm.
over the number of sketches that we did on paper,
Mm-hmm.
it made us more comfortable with with
Right.
sketching, and then gradually we ended up going into buildings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's how you. So now after you've sketched, and then you have your idea, you've conceptualized and all, transitioning from that sketch into CAD. That's CAD is computer aided design,
Yeah.
right? So I know that's where your skills really.
Yeah.
Um,
So I like speed,
mm,
right? Speed is my selling point.
right.
So when we started from our first year and we're always sketching, and then we moved, they forced us to sketch. They didn't want to see anything CAD. When we got to first year, second semester, when people were still sketching, I'd already started exploring
Mm-hmm.
different softwares, which one I basically wanted to focus in.
Mm-hmm.
So I needed to, there were just a lot of softwares in the market. People were doing whatsoever they wanted to do.
Which one did you use first?
Um, I started with Chief Architect,
Oh, I
right?
see.
Yeah, Chief
I
Architect.
see.
Yes, I liked the font, right? It was very, what's the word? I think it was very
Easy.
native to, it was very native to architectural handwriting.
Right.
I think the name of the
The
font was
calligraphy set that we used to do.
exactly,
Yeah. Okay.
exactly. It was Chief Architect I started with. Um, it was so fast that it could also generate the roof members, which were the purlins, the rafters, and everything,
Oh.
which was particular to what we were learning with regards to building construction.
Mm,
So it covered both studio, building construction, and
mm,
building technology.
mm.
Then we the whole we the school also made us learn AutoCAD.
Okay.
So AutoCAD was also a course that we
Okay.
had in school. So I had a bit of background in CAD, but CAD was a bit slow, and I was still particular about speed. So I was still with Chief Architect. Chief Architect, once you draw a space from bubbles, it automatically generates your walls, skirting, and a lot of other things. Put
Mm.
doors based on the bubbles, put windows. You just have to move them and then
You
add the
wanted the easy
parameters.
way.
So it was just so fast. But
Okay.
then when we started moving into public buildings, I think chief architect was just very restricting
Mm-hmm.
as with regards to limiting us to just small residential homes. Although people use them for bigger schemes, but I just
Was it
felt it was
limiting because you hadn't built your skill in it yet, or it was limiting because it was really limiting?
I think it was limiting in the sense that you didn't have the flexibility to generate complex forms,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Because chief architect is it started with bubbles, and then these bubbles turns to walls, and then you put your doors, windows. It's something that first
Right.
year would want to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then I started exploring
Mm-hmm.
Revit. I went to SketchUp. I went to CAD.
Mm-hmm.
I came back to Revit. Revit did not really give me the line weight I wanted, but the downside was I didn't know I could manipulate those line weights and the graphic settings. Then I moved away to MicroStation
Mm-hmm.
because the CAD
That's a lot of
lecturer, yeah, the
exploring.
CAD lecturer wanted us to learn MicroStation because he felt it was better than AutoCAD.
Mm.
Then I also saw something trending online, which was Vectorworks.
Mm-hmm.
And then I downloaded the software. It seemed a bit more complicated. Then I went to ArchiCAD.
Okay.
ArchiCAD was somewhat similar to Revit in a way, but I saw a colleague's presentation in Revit, and then I went to Revit and I decided to stay with Revit.
Right, right. So that's the point where you decided to rely on one
One
software.
software, yes.
I see. Then, and after relying
One
on
modeling
that,
software.
one modeling software.
Yes.
So by then, were you drafting with a different software?
So what the workflow was, to at the time I didn't really understand the line weights in Revit. I model with Revit, I take it to CAD to bring up the line weights, and then I generate whatsoever I need in Revit, which were the elevations, the sections, and everything, and then take it to AutoCAD to work with the line weights and then put them on sheets.
Okay.
And then another software is the rendering software. So I felt that if I could master AutoCAD as a drafting software, Revit as a modeling software, and Lumion as a rendering software, I felt I was good.
Okay.
But then again, I went into deep research in Revit because the softwares were just too much for me. I went into deep research in Revit and I understood the drafting technique in Revit.
Right. So is at that point that your workflow evolved?
Yes.
So how would you describe your workflow? I mean, evolving over time now.
What I do is I design everything in Revit.
You draft in Revit?
I draft in Revit,
you model
in Revit.
Okay.
Do the construction documentation, everything in Revit.
Detailed
So once I design and model in Revit, I visualize in Lumion.
Okay.
Right, and I do my presentation documentation in InDesign because it's clear.
Yeah. So does this? I mean, you spoke about sketches and all, saying that we're forced to sketch in school and all because they say the fastest connection between
2 points.
I mean, no, not 2 points, but they said the architect's mind is always connected to his hand, so that's the fastest way he can conceptualize whatever he's thinking or bring to life whatever he's thinking. It gets to the point where back in school we always had that battle with our lecturers that you have to sketch first because some people go to CAD first to conceptualize, and it was working for them, but we're always told no, that's not the way. What was it like for you? Do you still conceptualize with sketches, pencils, or you just move to CAD straight?
Let me start with school. In school, I had to sketch because there were marks allocated to sketching. I needed those marks.
Yeah.
So I had to sketch. And the presentation were in phases. You present sketches, then you have to translate those sketches to CAD and all of that. So I had to do the sketches for the marks for sketches. Then I moved to CAD to model and develop my design further. But now, the workflow depends on the architect. If you are faster with sketching, then people work with that. But to me, I'm faster with drafting first on CAD. And the particular reason is with regards to scaling. You could plan out spaces, do your zoning with sketches, overlay them with tracing paper and all of that. But you still have to come to CAD to try and scale them. Most times sketches work with the planning, but when you take them to CAD and start outlining them, start putting scale figures like sanitary wares, furniture, you tend to realize that, okay, this 3-piece sofa, you felt within a space and all of that. And sometimes, except you are having to sketch on graded sheets. So
and that helps you understand
that's what makes you understand the scale. So this is me making my decision in practice based on the difficulties and stuff I had to run away from architectural school. So most people that would have sketches as their first line of thoughts are people that actually were strong during design school. But I wasn't
Mm.
strong during design school,
You
so
you weren't strong in
in
sketches and
sketches. I
all.
wasn't strong
It's
in
okay. So
sketches in design school,
you
so
decided to rely
on CAD.
on CAD. I
Yes, and
see.
that's where the speed is and everything.
So it means you're from the rough idea you have, you go straight to CAD, and then you conceptualize
It
in
depends
CAD
on the
scope of work
and
you're
what
doing.
you are doing. Yes. So if
Okay.
I was doing
Okay.
like a renovation, right?
Mm-hmm.
After we've done the as built,
Mm-hmm.
right? You need to overlay on
Mm-hmm.
paper, sketch with a tracing
Mm-hmm.
paper to see how you could replant some spaces before taking it to
Right.
CAD. But if it's a fresh design,
Mm-hmm.
right, I plan out the site
Right.
on CAD. So
Okay.
I use property lines. I put the site, get the
Mm-hmm.
access road,
Mm-hmm.
then you do the site analysis, and then I start planning the spaces based on
Right.
how it should be
Right.
because I just want them to be in scale
In
once.
scale.
Yes,
Okay. All right. So your design process, do you usually start? I mean, you've spoken about the fact that it depends on the scale
yeah.
of the project or the type. Do you usually start in 2D or 3D?
I start with 2D.
Always.
Yeah, because
Function
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 follows.
matters to
Yeah,
you more.
function is key. Function
Right.
is
Right.
architecture. Function is design. Function is life. Actually, if
Yeah.
it doesn't work, then I don't think the building should. You should be
Mm,
prioritizing the beauty of the building.
I see. You know how do you manage layers, standards, in design? You know how there are standards that we have to meet in designing and all with CAD. How do you manage that from the layers, line weights, I mean, and the general standards that we have in design? How
So
do you?
these things grow with time.
Mm,
So it develops with time. That's the word.
mm-hmm,
From architecture school, like I told you, I
mm-hmm,
always go back there because that's just the origin of all of this. I told you I'd found difficulties with the line weight. That took me back to AutoCAD.
mm-hmm,
So over time, I've worked in different skills with regards to the projects on how I want to present them on sheets.
right.
So been able to I've been able to
Evolve over time.
experiment
Right.
experiment on different line weights and how they work
Mm.
with scale.
Let me make this simple. You
Yeah,
know how, the older architects who we've trained under, and I mean, generally, they always say AutoCAD has better line weights than Revit. So when you even work in Revit, they'll always want you to take it back to AutoCAD
AutoCAD.
to clean up the lines because they want to see the fine lines, the details, and all. Would you say Revit can do that? Can any other software do that? I mean, you work in Revit, so you should speak to that.
Revit can do that.
Right.
ArchiCAD can do that. SketchUp can do that.
Mm.
Right?
You just need to
You
understand the
just need
software.
to understand the line weights. Most people that feel that SketchUp can't do it has not taken their model from SketchUp model space to layout
Mm.
to experiment on the line weights.
Mm.
So with regards to line weight, Revit can do that, and I don't see they're both. Revit is a modeling, a
Drafting,
drafting, and
a
a
rendering
rendering, and also
software as well.
a documentation. It's a BIM
Yes.
software, so it's a
Yeah.
BIM tool, and it's one of the strongest in the industry now. So
Mm-hmm.
it would basically show these languages that you are looking for. It's just that you haven't seen a perfectly done Revit file. That is why they are always
Mm-hmm.
going towards what they've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I see. I see. How do you see rendering fitting into design process? Early concept rendering, mid design visuals, or final presentations?
Rendering is very crucial to the conceptualization process, especially when you are testing out materials, right?
Mm.
You are trying out materiality. I've seen people make statements like this render is an aspirational intent.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that after designing and you are trying to showcase a space to a client. That is just an opportunity to also tell the type of floor finish, wall finish, ceiling finish, furnitures, and all of that to the client, right? That is an opportunity to showcase every single thing that you intend to use with regards to specification. And then once you get an approval from the client, you can decide to go move with in that direction.
Right.
Yes.
So what makes it like I think you've touched on it. So it becomes very useful in letting clients understand what their building is going to look like, what materials you are going to use,
Exactly.
without it being a trap of you not misleading or over promising.
Yeah.
So in that case, can you, I mean, throw a little light more on what needs to be done to make sure that what you're rendering is exactly what you're putting out there, and that will be built. And you know how sometimes you see some renders and by the time they finish building, it's a different thing, materials and all that.
I feel by the time I feel it also boils down to cost. So it's where people can't match cost with their material selection, right? If you are selecting a material, you should basically have an idea on how much it will cost to get this gloss finish, this matte finish, this semi-matte finish, right? This stone, this size of tile. You could visualize a render with a tile of a certain size and it looks good. And then when you hit the market and you see that it's costing X amount of money and you now go with a smaller tile size, it's off the render.
Right.
Sometimes you go to the market and you realize that this particular finish with regards to texture costs more than something with regard with that's smoother.
Yeah.
So you compromise on what you've visualized. Sometimes it also boils down to the quality of the render.
Right.
So speed. I use Lumion because I'm able to show these textures and choice of materials quicker, and to be able to show it to the client and tell them that, okay, yeah, this is what we are doing, and I think we should go with this, we should go with that.
Yeah.
And clients are also different. If you're working with like a real estate developer and they want something of higher resolution to show their potential buyers, that's when we now start looking for softwares that will be able to deliver that, which will definitely boil down to V-Ray from 3ds Max or V-Ray with SketchUp.
Right. So which one do you really rely on to sort of give a better understanding to your clients? Lighting, materiality, scale, or mood. I mean, atmosphere in rendering. Which ones do you focus?
Na collabo. So it all ties in together, right? It's everything ties into to show it's design, right? You want your lighting to portray a feel. You want your color to deliver an emotion. So everything ties in together to be able to make the space feel the way you want your clients to deliver what the client actually wants.
Right.
So nothing it's of more importance than the other.
Great.
They all come together.
Great.
Yeah.
Like he said.
Yeah.
All right. So file management.
Okay.
Architects, we have lots of files. How we put our files together. Now, file management. Sometimes when you have young architects coming up, working with them in office, and you see how everything is just scattered all over. How do you, put your files together? I mean, from version control across sketching, CAD, modeling, rendering. How would you advise people to,
It's the naming. The naming of the files and it all started from school. Remember when we all had that one file that we called presentation final. We had it presentation final. Yeah,
you always have final,
exactly. Final one. God is
and then the funny
best.
one is when you do final, they put full stop.
Full stop. Yeah, yes. So it's the naming. So it's best you name according to dates, right, as
Mm-hmm.
probably the prefix. You could also add revision numbers to
Mm-hmm.
it so that
Mm-hmm.
it's in a sequential manner.
Mm-hmm.
You have to sort them in different files.
Right.
Also, I can also push it into the use of the software itself,
Okay.
because you should be able to pick up someone's model and use it to a point. You need to pick up someone's model
And continue
and continue
from it without
from
it being a problem,
exactly.
you know.
But you have people use, I would always be mentioning Revit because that's what I use.
Mm-hmm.
You have someone pick up a Revit model and you see the person trying to create a wall, and the name of the wall is wall 1, wall 2, wall 3. If someone picks a person doesn't know what wall 1, wall 2, wall 3 is, you have someone modeling stuff in a different category. For example, I'm trying to model a furniture
Mm-hmm.
and I'm modeling it under the geometric model,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to model something with regards to ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
I'm modeling under geometric model.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to model something in plumbing,
Yeah.
and I'm modeling under casework, right?
Yeah.
So the category already it's wrong.
So
And then when
naming
you're,
is very key.
yeah, the naming is very important. And if you miss out on the naming, you would also miss out on the documentation part, right? Which beats the whole card as a pop,
Yeah.
the whole beam
it
as a
makes detailed drawing
very
very
difficult.
difficult. Very
Exactly. When
difficult.
you are tagging,
Tagging,
you cannot
exactly.
tag this thing because it doesn't fall under that category,
Yes.
because you're already having the naming wrong.
Wrong. So
Yeah,
it takes a lot of time.
Yeah,
to
you need to rearrange and you
Yeah.
make it difficult. Even
Yeah.
your levels, you duplicate a level, it's level 1 copy,
Yeah.
and level 1 copy.
Yeah.
So you don't even name the level. You don't know if it's with regards to furniture, if it's regards to dimension. You don't even know what that level is. You just know that it is a copy of level 1. Sometimes you don't even know what the copy is.
Yeah.
So you now pick up the model and duplicate it, and you don't even know if it is a dependent duplicate.
And then you don't have to work around it all again to suit,
exactly. So
again, also it's a beam software that other professionals should be able to use.
yes.
How I mean, given your experience, how have you worked with like structure engineers, MEPs, collaborating with them with beam?
Okay, I'm biased in the selection of allied consultants I work with. I would prefer working with someone that uses Revit because they've been able to position things properly. And if I'm working with someone using AutoCAD, I just feel everything is just flat. You need to
It's all in 2D.
It's all in 2D, although they specify things like sizes. So you are working based on vibes. That's okay, yes, at this height. And then you now call a coordination meeting to get clarity on some information. But when it comes to Revit collaboration, you have your CAD file which has been modeled up. You issue to the structural and the services guys. They do their work, send back their models. You overlay them. Sometimes even if they are not working the same year as you, there's still a window to export as an IFC file. You overlay these drawings together. You detect clashes. There's even a software that you could use for that, which is Navisworks. But I still do mine with Revit. You overlay these models together. Use your revision bubbles to highlight clashes. You use your text to indicate what you're pointing out, and then you issue another general arrangement drawings with, and also the model to the consultants, and also have a coordination meeting to be able to discuss this. And all of this can be done virtually. You don't need to be physical. So
because you're all working
within one software, yes, and it's easy to collaborate. You can see the base points, the origin are the same. So it's easy for the models to just sit exactly where it is. Once you rotate it, you know, okay, yeah, this is where this outdoor HVAC component is going. This is where this cassette unit is. Is the plenum space sufficient? Is the headroom, is it going to affect the headroom? You are able to put scale figures to ensure that people could pass, the headrooms are accurate, the column placement, you are sure that it sits within the wall, there are no clashes, the beams. That's where you also detect if the services require a sleeve within a beam. You also find out if the structural engineer can accommodate that sleeve.
Right.
If those structural components are very should I use the word sensitive? They are very,
they cannot be touched.
they cannot be touched.
Are,
exactly.
yeah.
So that is where you have those conversations, because you've been able to see these things.
Right.
And with regards to, that's for coordination, right? Yes.
There's this thing that we always say with interior designers. How do we collaborate with interior designers using CAD properly? Funny enough, I don't think we have interior designers who sketch, who go through that process of, proper thinking, if I should say. They don't really have a thought process. Some do,
okay,
but most don't. And we don't even see them using CAD. It's all put furniture here, put this curtain here because it's black. It will match with this. It will match with this. How do you collaborate with them?
Okay, so I cannot say most of them don't sketch, because I've not seen demographics. I've not seen
but I mean, for those that I have dealt with, I've never seen.
I've worked with a couple of interior designers that also use Revit. Some use SketchUp, right? And I've been able to accommodate them in my work space by having the SketchUp people export their files to AutoCAD. But if they are unable to do that, I still collect the model, export the spaces I need. That's all the wall elevations, including the floor plans. I put them in, and then although it's not within my scope, but I try to still have components in my space. That's the components they've proposed in my space, and then have the services engineer provide for services to accommodate whatsoever they are doing. So it's easy to bring them in during the coordination phase, but most clients do not understand that. They feel that once the building is done, then they bring the interior designer in. But it's always crucial that you discuss interior design with the clients during the inception of the project.
Right. Okay. If you would recommend a learning path for someone starting today, what sequence of software and skills would you suggest?
Revit. I'm not against sketching. If their stronghold is in sketching, they could start with that, and then they move into Revit. Bring in their sketches. There are lots of ways you could import your sketch. You could also use your iPad with the
Morpholio and all that,
and all of that to do that. You bring that into Revit. You have it scaled, and you model from there. Not just model, you model right from there. Then you visualize with Lumion. I don't think most young architects coming up put a lot of time and energy into visualization, right? Learning the best rendering softwares and all of that, which is not
really, which shouldn't be
which shouldn't be the focus, right? You should learn more on
the rudiments of design.
Exactly, the design specification. Because it's in layers. After modeling, what's next? Okay, I need to put in more information. That's why it's building information modeling. You need to put in more. You've put it so far quite all right. You've put you've indicated where you want your TV to be. You've indicated the kind of you've indicated the curtains. You've indicated your windows, the type of windows. But now when you are going into doing your schedules, that is where you now put more information. So those are the things that young architects should learn, how to grow the model into adding more information into the modeling.
You've done one thing too that has killed us using CAD mostly is we put in components and then we don't appreciate the dimensions of components. So you have young architects, putting in components, they will put a chair here, but you ask him what's the standard, width or height of let's say a wardrobe standard height of cabinet and all. They don't even know it's 900 mm.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
don't know a
true.
normal cell height and also, like you're saying, I believe we should put much more emphasis on
The scale.
understanding scale, the basics
Yeah.
of design, understanding that
Anthropometrics.
anthropometrics.
Yeah.
Yes, that's it. The basic relationship between furniture and then humans scale is
Scale.
it's
Yeah.
is very very important. It's
Yeah.
very important. So yeah, I want us to move on to sustainability and performance. How do software tools help you address sustainability in terms of daylight studies, energy modeling, thermal comfort during design?
One, would always start with the site analysis. That is the first step. You have a site. You need to know your north point. You need to know your solar path,
Mm-hmm.
your prevailing wind direction,
Mm-hmm.
and Revit is it's like I'm even running promotion for Revit. Revit has done it such a way that you could run analysis for depending on the geographical location you've
Yes.
put in,
Yes. You
right?
can key in the
You could
coordinates.
key in the coordinates,
Yeah.
and then you could run all of this analysis. You could also, so once you've done the basics, which is using this solar path, prevailing wind direction, access, views, and all of that to plan out your spaces.
Mm-hmm.
You've gotten your functional flow and all of that. You've gotten your design.
Mm-hmm.
Then, based on how your design plays out on site, that is what will now inform you to doing your shading devices,
Mm-hmm.
right, based on the solar path like I've
Mm-hmm.
mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
And then you could run your analysis
Mm-hmm.
in the software.
Right.
Some AI tool does that. So you could run your analysis
Mm-hmm.
and you would see in red where there is much heat gain.
Mm-hmm.
And you could also, based on that analysis, it would inform you on what to do.
How to
How
arrange the
to
building,
exactly do you need to
how to
shade,
ventilate
how to
it.
ventilate? Do you
Yeah.
want to shade it more? Do you want
Mm-hmm.
to have more recesses?
Mm-hmm.
And most importantly, what is the cost implication of these devices that you are using, right, in
Mm-hmm.
relation to the client's budget?
Mm-hmm.
And then you could also consider, with regards to sustainability, the type of development you are doing. If it's because definitely energy generation in this
Yeah.
part of the world, it's a pressing
Yeah.
issue. And with regards to energy generation, people are always falling into trying to do solar panels and the inverter system, and then they've been able
Extractors.
exactly, and
Yeah.
then it's generating this.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel, based on the scope, the type of development you are doing, if it's some mm,
Grand
maybe
scale.
it's a large residential development,
Mm-hmm.
then you should be looking at biogas. But even in this mass housing development, people still look at um, solar as
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. I get.
biogas is also an option.
Okay.
There are
Okay.
windmills. So
Mm-hmm.
definitely you could also look at that. You should also look at
Mm-hmm.
grey water,
Mm-hmm.
how you could treat your grey water
Mm-hmm.
and use them for other purposes like flushing of toilets, and
Yeah.
also treating
Yeah.
it to an
Yeah.
extent of being
Yeah.
able to water your lawns.
Okay.
So those are some sustainable techniques that you could take
Right.
into play: rainwater harvesting,
Right.
water runoffs, what you do with it, excess. And those are key things you need to look at. You also need to look at indoor cooling, um,
Yeah.
placement of windows. So they are just endless. So it boils down to your the orientation of the building on the site
Mm.
and running your analysis. It's not as stressful as it used to
Used to
be
be.
before, but
Mm.
these tools are there to help you run your analysis and know how best to make these buildings.
And it makes it easier.
Yeah, it makes it easier. Yeah, it
Okay,
makes it
going back
easier.
to render, not to digress too much. Have you ever seen a render, or you will come up with a render that it looks so great, but then after it, your site's constraints make them impractical, or the budget, like you show the client, he sees the material. Let's say you choose a material like a type of stone that is very expensive. There's a particular material, I've forgotten the name. Like you use a material like that.
Okay, so like I had
You
mentioned,
over render, let me say.
yeah, you over render. Like
Yeah.
I mentioned, getting to know the client's budget is very important.
But what do you do when clients don't like to
I
share their
understand. I'm
budgets
getting
in
that.
this
So you
part of
have
the world?
cases where the client do not want to share their budget.
Mhm.
That is where you over render. So you over render and you come up with a preliminary budget
Cost.
estimate
Yeah.
for the project.
Mhm.
And it's preliminary because a lot of informations have not come into play, like services,
Mm.
structure
Mm.
has not come into play.
Mm.
So the client sees this figure and you would psychologically, you would tell if it is something he can afford. And his response would also tell you, yeah, it's something he's willing to do. When he
But are you willing to go through that back and forth with a client of rendering first one, and you come back, he says it's expensive, you have to come back and come and re-render again and all, that back and forth is
no, the
stressful.
back and forth of re-rendering is because you haven't also discussed the figures. Because if you engage a cost consultant, that's the QS, to coming up with the preliminary budget estimate, you know where the bulk of the figures are and you know where to cut it.
Right.
Most of these figures come with finishes, and once you see it's finishes and services, but let's push services aside. Let's talk about architecture.
Yeah.
So once you see the finishes and the figures are high, that is where you now discuss alternatives, right? And also, like, should we go with Nigerian tiles? Should we go with Spanish tiles? Should we go with Italian tiles? Should we go with, yeah, depending on that. What sizes of these tiles? Okay, should we just go with paint? Should we go with more textured finish? Should we go with this? Should we go with stone? So those are the things that you'll be discussing with the clients, and then off the top of your head, based on experience, you know that this option is slightly cheaper, and that's where you kind of like convince the client towards that other option, and then you have to come up with a revised conceptual design and then discuss these figures with the client. The client sees it and says, oh, I think I prefer the other one. Okay, you know what, it's just like chicken and egg. You know what, let's go with that. I think I can save up costs from here to put here. So those are the kind of conversations you have with the clients, just so you are able to manage that.
Yeah. Okay. So if you had to design a dream project using only one suite of tools, which would you use? I mean, because I know we've spoken about drafting, modeling, rendering, and all. Presentation is very key.
Yeah.
What's combining this with presentation, what will your workflow be like? What software were you using for presentations?
I'll start with my dream.
I know you use Revit to design. Okay, let's just put that aside. I know you definitely use Revit to design. Now, after designing and rendering, what would you use for your presentations?
I'll just tell you the workflow.
Yeah.
Right. I develop the brief on paper.
You sketch it, or you write it out. Sorry.
Yeah, I write it out. Then I print out the site plan. My dream project would most likely be on a large piece of land somewhere on a hilltop. So I would start with sketch there, just so I zone out the spaces and see how each of them play out. It's more fluid sketching, right? And that is where I would play more, because I know it's not to scale, but I know, okay, this is where I want to have.
Yeah, just your initial
thoughts and where things would go, and critique it deeply. Okay, this is where the water is running off to. This one I'm putting my storm drain. This one I'm putting this is where I would definitely propose the septic tank. This is where I'll propose some.
Mhm.
Yes, the driveway. This is where the cars will park,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
those are the things I would look at. Look at the solar part. Okay, I'm orienting the building in this manner
Mhm.
so that I'm exposing the shutter sites to
Okay. Okay.
the solar
Yeah.
part.
You've done
Make sure
all
I've
these.
done all of that.
You've modeled.
Then
You've
I go to
rendered.
Revit. I model, right?
Mhm.
I extract the floor plans and take them to InDesign,
Oh.
right? InDesign has a way of showing clarity in PDF documents, right? Without having them, will I use the word
Pixelate?
pixelated? No, I
I
don't
mean,
think.
yeah,
Yeah,
because it's a vector software.
yes, yeah,
Yeah. But
yes.
I use Illustrator.
You use Illustrator.
Yeah, and then it gives me clearer lines. So there's a way to save it that people don't know, you know.
Illustrator is heavier.
No, that I save it to very the least. There are options when saving
Okay.
that you can reduce the quality yet set it high. There's something I think the DPI also you
Reduce the
reduce it.
DPI because you're saving it.
Yes.
But I'm getting my outputs from InDesign as a
InDesign.
PDF, not as a
Okay.
picture.
Yes, I also save it as a PDF.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I think, like you said, in Revit, you need to understand the softwares.
Yeah,
You need
yeah, I
to
agree.
find your way around
Yeah, I
them.
agree. So I take it to InDesign,
InDesign. Okay.
and the way InDesign works is that it works. Everything that comes in as a link. So if there is a slight iteration, all I have to do is just to re-export from Revit, replace that file where I saved it, and then it updates on InDesign without having to go through the
Yeah, I think it's a thing with Adobe Suite because it does the same thing with Illustrator also.
So that's the workflow. The presentation goes through InDesign, and then I render. I just stay within those three space.
Right, right. If I want to use a software to, you know how sometimes, let's say what AI does now, you can really tell this is done by AI if you see something. What software would you recommend to someone like a student that would use a software that you can see that a lot of thoughts, thinking has gone into this? This is not something, that's just AI generated.
I would recommend Rhino. I've not mentioned Rhino in all of this. Rhino is a play space for creatives. It's, I will not say it's almost like SketchUp, but you are able to play with forms, right? And Rhino is trying to, there's kind of like an integration between Rhino and Revit. After playing with Rhino, you could come to Revit, add walls and develop it further, and then go back to Rhino, update that conceptual form. Revit has a conceptual form area, but it has lots of constraints, and it's very restricting. Rhino is more fluid with regards to its spline, with regards to the way forms adapt and the iteration process. So I think I would recommend Rhino.
Right.
So if we are having to go off the generic building walls and doing all of that, you want to follow form before function, I think I would chip in Rhino before Revit.
Okay. All right. So then, I mean, going further into AI, you see AI and real-time rendering and, VR, AR changing the way we design and communicate architecture in Africa?
I've seen, should I call people lazy? People, because of the presence of AI, people are becoming lazy when it comes to rendering. There are a couple of very quick rendering softwares like Twinmotion, D5 Render, Lumion, Enscape. D5 Render has integrated AI into it, where you bring in your model, input some prompts in, and it gives you this thing. You tell it to change this wall to stone, and it does it, and it gives you a very nice background, right? and we have a lot of people moving towards that.
Mm.
Let's take out the cost of getting the software out of this. So let's not use the cost as a factor.
Mhm.
But people are moving towards D5 render because of
Speed.
the integration of AI.
Mm.
So I feel that one, I feel that people are just being lazy with regards to doing renders. I feel render is more of an a
Understanding
design.
materials.
It's a design exercise on its own.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity for I've gone straight into render where I've seen a design flaw,
Mm.
right? So if you are having AI do a render, you would skip a lot of things that you could have resolved at that instance.
Yeah.
What I would recommend is just go through the design, the render, select your materials, go through it, look at it,
Mm-hmm.
apply it, look at how the side of this finish is, how do you tidy this up, how does this meet this.
Mm-hmm.
So that is just an opportunity for you to see how best you can select your materials,
Mm-hmm.
your lights, what locks are you bringing in. That's just an opportunity in that exercise. So I would not want people to rely completely on AI when it comes to generation of renders. I think what people should be exploring towards the use of artificial intelligence should be towards construction documentation. That's a tedious process. That is a that is
A very time-taking
is a
task.
time-taking task. It's also something that doesn't require too much brain power,
Brain power, yeah.
right? It's just
Specify.
just put in
Tell
your
the machine what to
dimensions,
do.
do this, blow this up,
Yeah.
do that,
Yeah.
and all, except
Yeah.
for intricate details that
Yeah.
you
I mean, I've explored
want.
that before. There's a software like
Really?
that. Yeah, it's a plugin in
Okay.
Revit where once you have to write back to naming, write specifications and all that. So you just do the tagging and all. Once you click, it just details out everything for you in
Okay.
Revit.
Okay.
So I think I agree with you
Yeah,
on that.
that's what we should be
Yeah,
looking at
yeah.
towards the.
My last question to you:
Okay.
Do you think AI can take our jobs as architects?
No, I don't.
Why so?
How do AI communicate things like clients' iterations, how they want, how just imagine a woman explaining how she wants her kitchen to be to an architect and using words like maybe or maybe not.
They are complicated.
Exactly. That is a very complicated word, right? Our job is to understand
Humans.
human behavior and how they interact with spaces, how to create a mood. Ever wondered why you just ate this very rich, big lunch and you're full, you're already feeling sleepy, and your sibling or your friend begs you to accompany them to a restaurant to go and get food for them, and then you opt to accompany them. On getting there, you are hungry again because of color psychology, right? Your kid is coming out from the car all moody, doesn't want to go to school, and then they're in school already. They are all hyper and energetic. You go to pick them by 1, 2, 3. They are still energetic and playing, and once they enter the car, they're already sleeping. Color psychology. This is what we've learned in school. This is what we are able to. Even when you enter your class, the classroom you sat when you were in primary school that felt too big, and you go there now, it's looking like it's really
Very
small.
small.
These are things that we've learned. We've been able to understand what client wants, right?
And not all clients are the same.
Yeah, not all clients are the same. So the dynamics of human beings, I feel, is very complex for artificial
Intelligence. And
intelligence to
it takes us
understand.
to
Yes,
understand
yes,
ourselves
yes,
too.
yes, yes.
Right.
So
AI
AI
can take it
cannot take our
our way.
jobs, right?
Yeah.
AI can't
Okay.
take our jobs.
Okay. I mean, because design is, continuous
Yes,
exploration,
yes, that is why we
thinking,
have,
process,
yeah, that's why we
and
have
all.
those development courses, because it's not just you graduate, become an architect,
Yeah.
you practice, you become an architect, and then that
Yeah,
is it.
that's it. I just
So you
putting
have a
spaces
continuous
together.
development program still within the association, right? That makes us grow
Mm-hmm.
due to these complex dynamics
Mm-hmm.
that we
Through from conceptualization, design, modeling, administrative work, dealing with other professionals,
exactly
managing things on site.
sites, the
That
issues of
alone.
that alone, it's AI can do it.
Yeah, yeah.
AI can do it.
Okay,
Yeah.
Architect Efe, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
coming on this podcast, and we've really enjoyed talking with you.
Thank you.
We'll definitely hope to have you here once again
Okay.
to
Deep.
deeper to dip deeper into software in
Okay.
architecture.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
so much.
Thank you for the opportunity.
You're welcome.
Thank you.